And so, yeah, everybody's not going to have a great chance to introduce himself. Jesse's with the Midwest Assistance Program. He's part of our team that's working on the private well program. He sets up workshops and does workshops for sanitarians and well owners, as well as does assessments in a bunch of states. And so when you get up here.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go.
All right, well, I'm Jesse Campbell. I'm with Midwest Assistance Program, and this is one of the issues that I've had the pleasure of being called in to help out with over the last year in last year's funding. And since I can't see the slides changing behind me, it's going to be really annoying. Oh, there we go. All right. Coliform's been covered a lot already during this conference. I have some slides in here over it. I'm not going to talk about it. What I am going to talk about is 4 wells that were testing positive over about a mile area. So I'm going to skip the coliform portions. They're all new wells. They've been drilled recently. And so there was an issue. It was a persistent coliform problem. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I just decided to skip these. There we go. The call was from the sanitarian Gina Bell in Kansas. They're in the Newton area. And she was having a problem with these wells that you see flagged on this map here. They go across about a mile and a half area there, and they were all testing positive for coliform bacteria. Up front, we knew that the wells had coliform. The coliform was traveling kind of northwest to southeast. They were all new wells. They're all grouted appropriate to the state codes. The septic systems in the area were functioning properly. And so I asked myself, can this actually happen? What's going on here? I've always been told coliform filters out in about 100 feet. It shouldn't be there. So I was really having a hard problem trying to help out with this problem that she was having. So I went to the CDC and EPA websites, took a little bit of time to look into those, and basically they're very vague. They say, yeah, it can happen if the right conditions are present. So if all of this stuff's present, you can have this problem. And that's not really a very good answer. So I went out and looked for some professional help. So through looking for professional help, I found myself calling Pam Chafee with the Kansas Health and Environment, KDHE, there we go, Health and Environment. She was able to help me out a lot. She pointed me at some maps, and we spent about 2 or 3 hours on the phone looking at all these topographical maps and such. She showed me where there's a watershed going down the eastern side and the watershed going down the western side of this area, and those blue dots you see there in the middle are some of the wells. We took a look at the well logs to see what the geology was in the area. Luckily, we were able to find well logs for all the wells that we were looking at. And this is just some of the geology. As you can see, there's a shale layer down below where they're trying to get their water. Most of the people are trying to get their water from that sand and gravel aquifer. When Pam finally pointed me to an aerial view and said, well, what about this? This kind of looks funky over here on this side of this aerial map of the area. That's when we started to kind of investigate and try to determine what was going on. So some more detective work was necessary. Went back out to the area, asked a whole bunch more questions, find out that all the septic systems are great, find out that the wells are put together correctly, find out that they've shock chlorinated numerous times over the last year trying to get rid of this problem. Learned from the county and from Pam that there's some additional factors. There was a drought in the area for the previous years, and it's been an extremely heavy rainfall this year that I'm working on this. So the aquifer's recharging quicker, and they've added a whole lot more new wells to the area. All those wells, like I said, are brand new wells out across there. So when we zoomed into that aerial map, that map we were looking at earlier, you can see that there's some ponds over there on that western watershed that goes around the outside of that formation. Those are actually dug man-made ponds, and the direction of the coliform's coming from those ponds. Something else we learned while we were thinking about the ponds and while I was digging around in the area is that they're losing ponds. They have drilled a well beside the ponds, and they fill the ponds with the well. So they're just kind of recycling the water down into the ground and back up into the pond and back, so on and so forth. Okay. So that's part of our hypotheses is maybe the coliform is coming from this direction, going out across the formation. And there we go. So our hypothesis continued groundwater under the direct influence. They removed an aquitard when they went in there and dug them ponds, more than likely. And since that stream liked to go out around the formation and take the water that direction, now they're pulling it up all there. Additional factors, the extra wells in the area are pulling water that direction across the formation. The drought left the aquifer depleted and it's trying to recharge quickly. And maybe in years that it's dry without the abnormal rainfall, they may not have this problem anymore when it all works out. And why is it a hypothesis and not facts? First of all, there's not enough information. There was a property up there in the upper northwest corner. He had tested positive a couple of years before, but he won't let anybody come back on and test anymore. And he put up a nice little gate and won't let you on his land. So the outcome, I was able to educate well owners. I was able to provide the local sanitarian with additional assistance so that she could educate those people better and provide a little bit of information over to KDHE, which I have for down as Kansas Geological Survey. So